So, first of all, we've been here for about a year and a half. Last November, the Turkish government asked us to stay through this year. They have not asked us yet to stay another year beyond that, but they asked us in November last year, so we're not sure what their request will be this year. But just like any other NATO ally, when Turkey makes a request to NATO for these kinds of capabilities, then the NATO alliance looks to supply that capability. This is our core mission, collective defense. That's the heart of what we do. And so we will be looking to our Turkish allies to identify whether they think this mission needs to stay. And if it does, then we will look to all the nations of NATO to prepare another follow-on for this mission here.
How will instability in the region affect NATO and our troops in Europe? Will this affect deployment rates in Europe and maybe be called upon to intervene?
So our mission in Europe really hasn't changed. We as Americans are a part of the NATO alliance, and where NATO needs us, that will certainly be where we will be employed. Clearly also, we have U.S. support that we do in Europe to AFRICOM, as all of AFRICOM's forces live with us in Europe. We are a throughput base for all of the efforts in CENTCOM and so forth around the region. So there's a lot of things that we do. What the instability brings is a new wrinkle. And what I would probably want to relate most is that we need to take a hard look at our force structure in Europe now, and is it correct? As you know, since the end of the Cold War, we have come down from over 400,000 Army troops. We have come down from 10 fighter wings to a force that has been reduced by about 75% or so in infrastructure and almost 80% in manpower. So we're a pretty small force. And what we can't afford to do now is get smaller until we understand what this new threat and this new instability in Europe is. As you know, due to old budget plans, we are scheduled to get smaller. But what we have got a commitment from our most senior leadership in the military is that we will pause and take a look at, is that the right thing to do based on the new threat? And we'll make that decision and move on.
Okay. How will the current conflict in Ukraine and indeed around Turkey affect the tempo and the mission focus for service members in Turkey?
So Turkey is one of our most important and strongest allies. All our allies are important to us, and the defense of those allies is key to our mission. Turkey is in a very strategic spot in our alliance. And think of what Turkey is facing right now. To the south is instability in Syria, instability in western Iraq. To the north is the instability in the Black Sea, Crimea, and Ukraine. And so this is key land, and defending Turkey is a big part of our NATO duties.
How important are the partnerships we are developing here in Europe as we move forward toward the NATO summit in September?
So these are the oldest and most stable partnerships of our nation. Think about it. The NATO alliance has brought over 60 years of stability to Europe. And these partnerships that we call that NATO alliance are incredibly important to providing that stability in Europe. And so I would not say that we're making new partnerships. We are just cultivating and maturing and taking care of old partnerships which have stood the test of time so far in NATO. And they are incredibly important. As I said, Turkey clearly sits in a very strategic place in today's world, and that relationship is important to us.
And last question, sir. Now that you've been here on the ground, what's your opinion of how the mission is going here and how the service members are doing?
They're doing awesome. They're doing very, very well. As I related earlier, if mission success for a missile defender is no missiles hit the ground, we have perfect success here. I think the deterrent value of what these soldiers have done here has meant safety for this big city you see in front of you right here. And that's important. So mission success so far. Mission success on several other levels as well, though. We have demonstrated, the United States as a part of NATO, the Dutch and the Germans as a part of NATO, and Kahramanmaraş and back at Incirlik, have all demonstrated our commitment to that core value of collective defense, and that's what we're doing here. And then on the last part, I would say, on a more humanitarian note, as I've mentioned today several times, it's important that we learn and live and fight alongside our brothers and sisters in NATO, and that's what's happening here. Today when I visited the Turkish commander of the brigade nearby, he talked about some sports games that happened here between our Turkish hosts and the soldiers on the spot, and the fact that our soldiers did pretty good in those games. We won basketball. I think we lost soccer. We actually outshot them in several cases, and so that's all good. These relationships and these kinds of things that happen between our soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines across NATO and those of our partner nations, those are as important as anything else we do, and we got that right here.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.